Hello, and welcome back to another First Chapter Friday. I'm Miss Mary at the Dutcher Middle School Library, and today we are going to continue celebrating April National Poetry Month by reading April Halprin Wayland's Girl Coming In for a Landing, a novel and poems. As we've mentioned before, a lot of novels and poems do not have chapters, so we are going to read the first 10 entries of Wayland's book. So without further ado, let's begin. Autumn. All this summer when I was alone, I'd think about what he would say, and then he said it. He did. He'd walk with me hand in hand in the late afternoons along the sandbar of the Feather River. He'd tell me, "You are the most important person in my life," and then he'd kiss my nose. He would. He'd pull leaves from my hair and say, "Never leave me." But I have. I've left him. I've come back to school, my 2 feet planted firmly on the ground. I'm a teenager now. I'll never walk with my invisible boyfriend again. But I remember what he said. Just a few words. I found a beautiful quote by writer Luciano de Crescenzo. Luciano wrote, "We are each of us angels with only one wing, and we can only fly by embracing each other." Just a few words, but they make me a little sad. A little blue, as if I am striving for something higher, trying to get off the ground. But Lou, who will embrace me? Period. It sounds so final, like things stop when you get it. I know that when I finally get mine, I'm going to be so thrilled, I'm going to call it my exclamation point. Leslie, moving back after 2 years. You've been away so long. When you knock on my front door, will I recognize your soft eyes? Did you miss me? I miss giggling with you walking home. I missed your soft, soft eyes. Do you remember the day we set out nuts for the birds and kept moving them closer to my open door, finally into the living room? Do you remember how we closed the door, trapping a blue jay? Do you remember what he did at the piano and how we laughed because we didn't know what to do with him once we had him inside? You knock. I'm afraid. I'm excited. I take a breath before I open the door. Maybe a bird will fly in. September, Santa Monica. Mom and I pull on our yellow wool sweaters, grab the leash, call Peanuts, and go for a search on the beach. Just us. A slice of the moon in the blue above, and Peanuts sniffing the air, waggling his stubby tail wildly. Me and Mom on the prowl, our scarfed heads, our backs bent down, hands behind, intent amid the piles of shells swarming on the sand. Our own beach. Ours alone, just us and the gulls, and the wash of the shells, on the prowl for moonstones. When I was small. When I was small, I didn't want my old stuffed cat Harold. I wanted your elegant dog Ariel Sybil. I didn't want my dumb name, I wanted your beautiful one. When I was small, I wanted to be like you, tall. I wanted to be the older sister. I still sometimes want to be you. Did you ever want to be me? Back to school last year. Last year, I worried about where the rooms were and all those kids. I didn't know what kind of binder to buy, 3-ring, or how much lunch money to bring. Last year, I got my hair cut the day before school started. Dumb me. It was way too short that first day. and last year I didn't know if I should buy new jeans or if my comfortable overalls would be dorky, or even if anyone cared. Last year I wasn't sure what time to set my alarm. Last year I was scared. Back to school this year. This year, I've got the perfect organizer with pockets for every subject except PE. This year, I ironed my lavender shirt 3 days ago and laid everything out last night. This year, I set the alarm for 6:45, just right. This year, I got my hair cut 2 weeks ago so that it is exactly the right length today. This year, I have Mr. C for science, Mr. Barton from Tennessee for language arts, and Miss Conisberg for chorus, again. Last year I worried, who was I? What did I know? This year I put on glitter chapstick and go. Prayer. I pretend I'm not looking for Carlo in the crowded hall. I walk by without recognizing him. He got a haircut too. I hear his voice in turn. My heart flickers. It says, this year, this year. And that is the end of the first 10 entries of Girl Coming In for a Landing by April Halprin Wayland. As always, it is available for checkout at the Dutcher Middle School Library. I also recommend this one because every page is an illustration or depiction, and it is delightful. You can also go to the library catalog and check out our poetry collections on there. As always, thank you for joining me for Chapter Friday, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend.